performer. Their name is Izzy Blue Sky. They're yes, Izzy fans, clap it up. They are a machinist, a mechanical engineer, and Antarctica explorer. Oh, yeah, fun fact about Izzy, they're actually a radio DJ in Antarctica, where video has yet to kill the radio star. Woo! Alright, so here to teach you all about Antarctica is Izzy Blue Sky.
I bring you warm greetings from a very, very cold place. So, as she said, I'm Izzy Blue Sky, and I spin metal in Antarctica. That is to say that I'm a machinist, not that I'm a hard rock radio DJ. But that is also true. So I've come to talk to you about Antarctica. So what is Antarctica? Cold. That's right, absolutely cold. So, at its simplest, on its surface level, Antarctica is not the Arctic. Antarctica is not that. The Arctic is an ocean surrounded by continents. It is in the northern hemisphere. Antarctica is a continent. It is surrounded by ocean. It is in the southern hemisphere. And so what does that mean? Like, what is Arctic? What does that even, like, where do we get that from? And as in a lot of science and other cultural aspects, we borrow a lot from Greek and Roman nomenclature. So Arctic comes from the Greek Arctos, which means bear. So the Arctic is the place of bears. And the Antarctic, by definition, is the place of no bears. So you won't find any bears in Antarctica. Well, there are two exceptions. There are two kinds of bears you might find in Antarctica. One is the water bear, which is just a cutesy way of referring to the tardigrade. And the second is the large hairy gay man. All right, but neither of those are taxonomically speaking bears. So Antarctica truly is the land of no bears, but it doesn't end there. Because you see, the Arctic doesn't refer to, or Antarctic doesn't refer to the lack of ursine fauna, which is also true. But instead it refers to the constellations Ursa Major and Ursa Minor, which are not visible from the extreme southern latitudes. Suck it, flat earthers. But y'all didn't come here to learn about the history of the name of Antarctica. This isn't geoetymology, Riot. This is science, right? Y'all came to hear about science, right? And Antarctica has plenty of science going on. In fact, that's sort of our thing. So what kind of science do we have going on in Antarctica? And I'm not going to get into like alien Nazi pyramids, that's all like, no, actual science. So we do things like atmospheric science and climate research. Well, we did. Do seismology and geological research? Well, we did. Did astrophysics? Okay, so the thing here is that the scientific mission of Antarctica is actually in serious jeopardy right now for some reason. So how do you get people to care about a place that seldom people rarely think about and most people will never go? Through the power of cute animals. Or, as we call it in the scientific community, charismatic fauna. And you can't talk about the charismatic fauna of Antarctica without talking about penguins. Penguins, yes, penguins are awesome. There are about 18, well, there are 18 kinds of penguins that have been observed so far. Most of them are migratory, and some of them will actually get as far south as Antarctica. But only 2 species of penguin actually truly call Antarctica home. The first one is the animated Adelie penguin, or as I like to call it, the waddle muppet. And then the other one is the emperor penguin, which is stately and stodgy and stuffy and acts like its shit doesn't smell. It does. Oh boy, it does. But yeah, penguins are great. Like, think of penguins are a lot like kids. Like in terms of size, they're like 2 to 4 feet tall, really uncoordinated on land, and they're really cute, as long as you can't smell them. So there are other kinds of cute animals that you'll find in Antarctica, like, for instance, seals. We have red-tail seals, leopard seals, and in the water, they look like cute water doggies. And on ice, they look like cute sacks of potatoes. That is actually surprisingly endearing. In addition to, you can't mention pinnipeds without also mentioning the cetaceans. We have whales. For one is the minke whale, and another one, orcas. Who doesn't love orcas? Well, maybe not the ultra-rich yacht owners. Go Team Orca. But not all of the animals that you'll find in Antarctica are that cute. For instance, take the horrid petrel that is known as the South Polar skua. Imagine a seagull and give it PCP in the gut. This vicious predator and scavenger will mug you for your curry. We don't even have curry. Like, where did you learn that? How do you know you want this? The next animal, there's some debate as to whether or not it's cute, and that's the aforementioned tardigrade. Okay, so the consensus is cute. Great, awesome. Tardigrades, we put to work. They actually have a very important job in Antarctica: to eat shit and like it. No, literally, the tardigrades work in the wastewater treatment facility, and their job is to turn offensive human poop into the slightly less offensive tardigrade, which is then consumed by nematodes, making it the slightly less offensive nematode poop. And at that point, it's basically you can pull the solids out and the remaining water is clean enough to release back into the environment. A little bit of logistic trivia for you there. So in addition to these microscopic invertebrates, there are also a host of macroscopic invertebrates that live in the water under the ice surrounding the continent. And the team of biologists sometimes collects them and brings them into the lab. But fun thing is, one of their educational research programs is they will curate a small handful of these sea bugs, and they'll put them in an open-topped tank that we can handle them while supervised. We'll come into that later. So this is called the touch tank, and it's effectively the world's weirdest petting zoo. My favorite animal from the touch tank, I would have to say, is the giant Antarctic isopod. They describe it as a really big roly-poly. And when it's rolled up, it's about the size of my fist. And when it unrolls, it looks like a bastard child between John Carpenter and H.R. Geiger. Sure, there's no aliens in here. Another animal that I encountered in the touch tank was the sea spider, which is a bit on the nose as far as the name goes. But my encounter with the sea spider was a little traumatic because when I placed it back into the tank, I wasn't mindful of where in the tank I put it. And it actually got grabbed by the tentacles of a sea anemone. Fortunately, so we're supervised. There was a biologist right there to help me fight the sea spider out of the grasp of the anemone, which was good news for the sea spider and kind of disappointing news for the anemone. So at that point I decided maybe I shouldn't play with the touch tank animals anymore. Like really, with friends like me, who needs anemones? Boo is right. get you to care about this place? What will? Well, maybe if we can think about something that everyone can appreciate. Think of Antarctica like a goth girl. Yeah. It's like pale and cold. When you get to know her, she'll warm up to you. And as you get more and more intimately familiar, she gets hot at an alarming rate. She can spend months without ever seeing the sun. And she's got this fierce exterior. And she looks like she could kill you. And if you're not careful, or if you disrespect her, she absolutely will. But in spite of this harsh facade, she's delicate and needs to be celebrated and cherished. Because I think Antarctica represents humanity at its absolute best. For instance, in 1959, 12 countries got together and decided to hold the continent and its surrounding waters in protection from commercial exploitation and warfare. And this established the Antarctic Treaty System, which effectively turns the continent into the world's largest wilderness preserve. And in the years since, in the decades since, the number of countries that have signed on to the treaty system has grown to 58. And when you can get 58 nations to agree on one thing, it's probably pretty special and worth defending. And Antarctica absolutely is. Thank you so much.